Title: Growing More Than Food, Cultivating Life in Your Backyard. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. I want to begin with a simple question, one that might seem almost too ordinary in our fast-paced, technology-driven world. When was the last time you grew something with your own hands? Not built, not bought, not ordered online, but grown. For many of us, the answer might be never, or not since childhood. And yet, there is something deeply human, almost instinctual, about placing a seed in the soil, nurturing it, and watching life emerge from something so small, so seemingly insignificant. Today, I want to talk to you about something that is both profoundly simple and incredibly powerful: growing vegetables in your backyard. Now, you might be thinking, this is about gardening, right? Tomatoes, carrots, lettuce? Yes. But it's also about something much bigger. It's about reconnecting with nature, with our food, with our communities, and even with ourselves. The illusion of distance. In modern America, we have created a system where food feels distant. You walk into a grocery store, and everything is clean, organized, and abundant. Perfect tomatoes in winter, strawberries year-round, vegetables that look identical, polished, almost artificial. But behind that convenience is a long, invisible journey, thousands of miles traveled, countless hands involved, chemicals applied, energy consumed. We've become disconnected from the origin of what sustains us. And that disconnection comes at a cost, not just environmental, but emotional. Because when we lose touch with how our food is grown, we lose appreciation for the miracle it truly is. The power of a seed. Let's talk about a seed. A seed is one of the most extraordinary things on this planet. It carries within it everything needed to become life: roots, leaves, fruit, waiting only for the right conditions. And when you plant that seed in your backyard, something remarkable happens. You slow down. You pay attention. You begin to notice the weather, not just whether it's sunny or rainy, but how the soil feels, how the light moves, how the seasons shift. You become part of a rhythm that has existed long before us and will continue long after us. Growing vegetables is not just an activity, it's a relationship, from consumer to creator. We live in a culture of consumption. We consume food, media, products, experiences, often without reflection. But growing your own vegetables transforms you from a passive consumer into an active creator. Instead of asking, "What can I buy?" you begin to ask, "What can I grow?" And that shift changes everything. Because creation brings responsibility. It brings pride. It brings meaning. There is something deeply satisfying about harvesting a tomato that you planted weeks ago, cared for, protected, and watched grow. It's not just food, it's a story. Your story. Health beyond nutrition. Now let's talk about health. Yes, homegrown vegetables are fresher. Yes, they can be more nutritious. Yes, you have control over what goes into your soil and onto your plants. But the benefits go far beyond what's on your plate. Gardening reduces stress. It improves mental clarity. It encourages physical activity. It connects you with the outdoors. In a world where anxiety, burnout, and disconnection are increasingly common, something as simple as tending to a garden can be profoundly healing. It gives you a sense of purpose, a reason to step outside, a reminder that growth takes time, and that's okay. Teaching the next generation. If you have children, or if you care about the future generation, this is where gardening becomes even more powerful. Because what do children learn when they grow vegetables? They learn patience. They learn responsibility. They learn that food doesn't come from a store. It comes from the earth. They learn that effort leads to results, but not instantly. And perhaps most importantly, they learn to respect nature. Imagine a child who plants a seed, waters it every day, watches it grow, and finally eats what they've cultivated. That child will never look at food the same way again. Community and connection. Backyard gardening doesn't have to be a solitary activity. In fact, it can become a bridge between people. Neighbors sharing seeds, friends exchanging harvests, families working together. In many communities across America, people are rediscovering the power of local food, not just for sustainability, but for connection. Because when you grow food, you have something to share. And sharing food is one of the oldest and most meaningful human traditions. Overcoming the excuses. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. I don't have enough space. I don't have time. I don't have experience. I don't have a green thumb. Let me tell you something important. You don't need a farm. You don't need perfection. You don't need years of knowledge. You just need to start. A small raised bed, a few containers, even a balcony can become a garden. Start with something simple: tomatoes, herbs, lettuce. You will make mistakes. Plants will fail. Things won't go as planned. And that's part of the process. Because gardening, like life, is not about perfection. It's about persistence. Sustainability and responsibility. Let's also acknowledge the bigger picture. The way we produce and consume food has a massive impact on our environment. Industrial agriculture, transportation, packaging, all of it contributes to climate change, resource depletion, and pollution. Growing even a portion of your own food reduces that impact. It may seem small, but small actions multiplied by millions of people create meaningful change. When you grow your own vegetables, you're not just feeding yourself, you're contributing to a more sustainable future, a return to what matters. At its core, growing vegetables in your backyard is about returning to something essential. In a world full of noise, speed, and complexity, it brings us back to simplicity, to soil, to sunlight, to water, to time. It reminds us that not everything needs to be rushed, that some of the most meaningful things in life grow slowly, and that we are not separate from nature, we are part of it. A personal invitation. So today, I'm not just sharing ideas, I'm extending an invitation to try, to experiment, to reconnect, to step outside, get your hands dirty and grow something. Not because you have to, but because you can. Because in that small act, you might discover something bigger. A sense of peace, a sense of purpose, a sense of connection. Closing. Let me leave you with this thought. Every garden begins with a single seed, and every seed holds the potential for transformation, not just in what it grows, but in who we become when we choose to grow it. So go home, find a space, no matter how small, plant something, care for it, watch it grow. And in doing so, you might just find that you're growing something within yourself as well. Thank you.